What's going on, New York sports fan? Back again with another video covering the NFL draft from this week. I just want to get into day 2 of the Giants moves and what a day it was. I loved a lot of the moves that Gettleman made. He's now 2 for, I want to say like 56 or 58 in terms of moving back with draft picks, and it's so interesting to see getting some more value out of that second round pick that we had. David Gettleman was able to take our 42nd pick and turn it into another third rounder from Miami next year and get the 50th pick this year. My favorite part about what David Gettleman and Joe Judge were able to do with this pick was they were still able to get the players that they highly valued and were able to get them while acquiring more draft capital. And that's a way that you move around the board, and that's a way that you take the most advantage of the board. You get the players that you want, the players that you scouted and think have high talent value, but then also acquire draft capital for next year. They're really rounding out and building out their roster right now for this year, this upcoming year, but then at the same time preparing for 2022's draft, where a lot more players will be available. A lot of players this year opted out of the draft and decided to take another year with the NCAA because they wanted to get the full college experience without coronavirus. So there's going to be a lot of talent available next year that the Giants can really scout and be prepared for next year. So I love the way that they're handling this, because it's also not as if though they're just like preparing only for next year. They're also gearing up for this year by adding players that the Giants really do need to be part of their roster. Let's start with the first pick that they grabbed at the 50th pick. I see the value of them picking up an edge rusher, one of the best ones in the draft, out of Azees Ojulari. They badly needed an edge rusher. That was the one part of their defense that I'd say is kind of empty. It took a great player that had a low risk but high value in Azees. So I don't know if you guys know, he's had an injury before. I think he tore his ACL in high school, but at this level, it's great to take him because he's such a versatile player. And a lot of the Giants defense and offense follows Joe Judge's mantra of being very versatile. He wants you to be able to play more than one position, and as an edge rusher, I think he could do a lot of damage, but he could also be utilized in many other ways on the field. The words I've heard to describe him are all very explosive, very hungry. He gets after the quarterback. That's my favorite part about him. He seems like he's part of that club of defensive edges and whatnot that like just have this burning hate towards quarterbacks, cannot have this disdain, do not want to see them. That's the kind of player you want. You want a player that can really get after the quarterback, and I love that he's added on to Leonard Williams, to Dexter Lawrence, Sexy Dexy. These guys, all three of them are going to be a problem to deal with, because it's like when you game plan for one of them, let's say you're game planning for Leonard, let's say you're game planning for Dexter Lawrence, because you have a lot of scouting report on them, you're not prepared for this last piece that could really do some damage. They also added on to their secondary. They traded up to the 71st pick to get a cornerback that they thought would be a high value player for them in Aaron Robinson. So Aaron Robinson has a lot of these similar traits that Joe Judge is looking for, that he saw in Azees as well. Very explosive player, very versatile player that can play multiple positions on the field, but known to be a great corner, but then also a very versatile corner. So we already have 2 great corners in James Bradbury, who's been a proven player, and then we also have another great corner that we added in Adoree Jackson. But a lot of our other defensive players like Logan Ryan can play multiple positions like this and take over those corner roles, but having these versatile players who can move all around the field, love that for them. Aaron Robinson specifically is known to be someone who can get to any part of the field when he wants. That's how fast and explosive he is, and I love both Azees and Aaron Robinson's approach to the game. I love that they're kind of different in that Azees, you could tell, is just like, besides being high energy on the field, he's high energy as a person. You can watch his interview, he's so excited, he's like, yeah, ready to work. And then you see Aaron Robinson with a much more humble, more controlled approach, but still just as energetic. He can play both the inside and the outside. He's great at both, and a lot of people say he's like kind of like an island corner, where like you leave him alone with another player, he'll use his skills, use his hands to be able to shut them down. So just adding on to the secondary and really developing the Giants' big blue defense and the mantra that they're all about, getting high value picks in the second round. Love that, while also moving back, moving up, showing that we know how to navigate around the draft board. I would definitely consider this to be David Gettleman's most impressive free agency and draft in general. Even though he started off kind of slow in free agency, he got more aggressive towards the end, offering high contracts to these great players. And then you see him getting aggressive with Joe Judge. And honestly, I can't do anything besides credit Joe Judge for this, because we've seen Dave Gettleman be put into these positions, but you see the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys throw some fire at us, and Joe Judge just calmly navigates through and makes the great play for the Giants. So love this mantra, love this mentality. This feels like the Patriot way, and I love that they brought it to our franchise and our front office. Let's talk a little bit about Joe Judge and David Gellman, how they contrast each other, and how I think that might be super helpful for the Giants. So you watch these interviews after these, after the draft picks, and you see Joe Judge. Man, this guy is calculated. He talks about what he likes in players. He knows what he wants, and he has a very specific scheme and idea plan for what he has in the future. He was able to bless Patrick Graham, our defensive coordinator, with some really great pieces to add on to the secondary, add on to the defense. And the way he talks about these players, you can tell he's been scouting them for a really long time. You can tell he's taken the advice of everyone in the building who knows them, and I love that for Joe Judge. I love that he's talking about how you notice that these players are someone that teammates come to after they score or after something happens, and that, they're positive impacts towards a roster. So Joe Judge is looking at it from every single perspective. And then on the contrast, you have David Gettleman, who's basically a clown. Like, I have no other ways to describe him besides a clown. He's shown many clown-like activities over the last few years, and then you even watch these interviews that he's doing. He's just making jokes with reporters. He's just having fun, and honestly, it really sucked when Dave Gettleman was the only one handling decisions, and it was like, stop treating our organization like a joke. Stop treating these moves like a joke. But then when you have Joe Judge with it, it kind of feels like a little bit of relief. You got Joe Judge, super serious, takes everything really seriously, and then you got David Gettleman, the clown show, and I feel like it's a perfect complementary piece for each other. They know how to have fun while also taking things seriously, and I just love that. It's not super Bill Belichick where it's like ice cold, everything's cold. David Gettleman does bring a little bit of flair into this group. I'm still not a real big fan of Dave Gettleman, but I just want to see how Daniel Jones plays out. I want to see how these moves play out. But in general, I'm going to give the stamp of approval for these moves that Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman have made over the offseason and over the draft, over free agency. I feel like they're really gearing towards building a great roster, a great rounded out roster filled with versatile players. They have an idea of what they want, and they have an idea of the kind of defense and the kind of offense that they want to show to other teams. Love that we added another corner to solve the problems against a lot of the divisional rivals and the Cowboys and Eagles, who have Devontae Smith, who have CeeDee Lamb, who have these really great pieces that could cause issues for us, and we will be seeing these teams 4 times in the year. So like, it's great to have pieces to prepare for those 4 games where you can catch 4 easy wins if you prepare right, game plan right for the season. If you guys want to hear more about my thoughts about the pick with Kadarius Toney, make sure you guys check out my last video. I think he's another great offensive piece that we added, a versatile player, but you guys can check that out. If you guys want to hear me talk more about New York sports, again, make sure you guys are liking, commenting, and subscribing. Shout out to the Yankees for finally getting their hits through. These guys went 10-0 yesterday against Detroit, so great start. I love the start from Garrett Cole, and let's go New York. Let's keep going. Let's keep rolling. The Knicks got a game on Sunday. Really excited about that. I just want to remind you guys that I'm right now at 98 subscribers, 2 subscribers away from 100, so make sure you guys are subscribing and supporting my channel. Really excited to keep growing with you guys, and this is the road to 100, road to 1,000,000 subscribers. We gotta get there. It's always love. Really appreciate you guys tuning in and showing me your support. I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.